Yo, Charles here, and I'm Malaysian. I've always wondered, what is life like for those Malaysians who have migrated to the US after growing up in Malaysia? To answer that question, I went out of my way to interview a few Malaysians who currently reside in California to find out more. This is what I discovered. I hope you find this interview insightful. Intro, please!
Hello, my name is Gary Lim from Ipoh, Perak. Been here since 1988.
My name is Simin. Been here since 2001.
My name is Mary. I am from Ipoh.
My name is Vincent Liu. I'm from Perak, Malaysia. I've been here for over 36 years.
My name is Kim Teo and I'm originally from Taman Mida, Cheras, Kuala Lumpur.
Because I met my husband and then decided to follow him to come stay at the US.
I came here as a student. I came here as an international student, studied, and I always wanted to go back home because I'm the only person here in the US. So I've been wanting to go back home, to be with my family. But then I say, hey, why not, just work for a year and then get some experience before I go back. So work for a year, but companies say, hey, why don't you apply for working visa? So I applied for a working visa, and then after working for a few years, companies say, why don't you apply for green card? So I say, okay, why not? So I applied for green card. Then it's like, oh, okay, now that I'm migrated.
After getting married here, my ex-wife liked it here better, and I share her same view. So when our daughter was born, we decided to stay here permanently.
I guess the main thing was homesick when I first came to America.
Very beginning, I think language is a problem. I speak with accent, and then the culture is different too. So it's harder for me to blend into the culture, to speak the language.
The truth is, when you're told to move to a new country, you're never ready. And when I first came here, even though I spoke English, but I spoke English with an accent, and it was not easy to pick up that American accent and understand people. So I was viewed as a foreigner, viewed as even a fob fresh off the boat. So there was feelings of isolation and loneliness in school.
Okay, the common misconception. We always think that the United States have a great opportunity and a lot of opportunities. But it's not really so, because in every place you need to survive, you need to try hard.
Misconception. People always think about Hollywood 90210, Beach Boys, sunshine. Yeah, it's not just that.
For most people think that once you move to the US, or life is very good, everything is easy, you must be rich, you have a lot of money, everything seems to be easier. But that's not exactly true.
I see people still struggle after being here for so many years.
Conception about migrating to a Western country is the Western way of life. It's always better. That's the misconception, I think.
In terms of making money, yes, if you're willing and if you're hardworking, even if you work at McDonald's earning minimum wage, you can afford a decent life. That being said, there are also other aspects in life aside from just making a comfortable living that I would say the grass is not greener in America. I feel at times quite numb. Life here can be quite monotonous, not pacing enough, not noisy enough. When you want to eat something at 10 p.m. or 11 p.m., you just have to resort to your Maggi Mee. There's not a lot of options here. So in that sense, you can't say that the grass is just greener in America.
In my view, in my thinking, it's not good for everyone. Only to those who has a plan, only to those who are able and willing to to assimilate themselves, their lifestyles, their Malaysian lifestyles, assimilate that lifestyle into an American way of life. That is the only way that you will benefit from living here as a minority.
I think this is human nature. Human always think that things that they don't own is always better.
Absolutely, the thing I miss most about Malaysia is the food, no doubt about it. That flavor you cannot get anywhere else in the world. Even though there's Chinese food here, it's just not the same. And the other thing that I miss most about Malaysia is also the colorful language and culture. I mean, we can say something in 3 different languages and find humor in it. And of course, the warmth of the country. You know, everybody is just more warm with each other.
There are a couple of things that I miss a lot in Malaysia. Mostly my mom, my family, my very best friends.
The thing I miss the most about Malaysia is the street food, and that's something I die for.
So I encountered this challenge in a way. I want to buy an ice cream, right? So they were asking what kind of toppings I want. So I chose the toppings. I said, I want almond on my as a topping. So this person obviously do not understand what I was saying. So she asked me, what is it? And then I say it again. She asked me once again, come again. So she literally asked me 3 times until I answer, spell it out. And then she said, oh, that's almond. So that's how I feel.
I felt it, I experienced it, I got abused before here about my accent, but it's okay to drop the Malaysian accent and pick up more of an American accent, American language. But it's ever present. You cannot escape it. You have to meet it head on and not let it affect you.
I have never felt any discrimination against me. Everyone is pretty nice. I mean, speaking as my own personal experience.
Okay. After being here for so many years, when I go back one time, I found it like I had a culture shock. Things are different in Malaysia. Maybe because I've been here for so long, I get used to the thing here, the weather, the food, the people. So in Malaysia, I have to take shower 4 times a day. And sometimes it's hard to communicate to the people in Malaysia. Not just the language, but maybe the thought.
Initially, I was very shocked at the changes. When I went back to Kuala Lumpur, everything was different. However, I think because I was raised there 17 years of my life, I quickly adapted to the dirtier toilets, the crazy motorcycles weaving in and out, basically having to shower 3-4 times a day. So I embrace those differences, and I certainly almost feel nostalgic when I get home. Even the parts that I'm uncomfortable, that is nostalgic for me.
For me, the only difference after years staying in the US and then going back to Malaysia is the weather that I have to adjust to.
Wow, if given a chance, and if that chance include being everything equal, I'm thinking about Australia and United States, if everything being equal, my choice, what I want to plan differently, what I want differently would be picking Australia.
There's not much regret about migrating to USA. Once you make the decision, you just go for it. You never look back.
Given the second chance, I think I would choose to go back home earlier in my 20s. I think I'll start my career in Malaysia instead of here. I went to Nebraska, so the plane landed in a place where there's nothing. So when I landed, I was like, how come nothing there's no lights?
My first day I remember was when my friends from Ipoh came to the airport, JFK, to pick me up in a car, and I thought to myself, wow, these guys are undocumented immigrants, and they drive a car, they're allowed to drive a car. Life is good here.
First impression when I first came to the US was everything is so clean, everything is so big, the toilets are so super clean, and I think people are fairly nice, especially in California.
The biggest sacrifice that came to my mind was leaving my parents behind, my mom and dad behind, and I am the elders, and being the elders, leaving my siblings behind at that time.
I think leaving my family behind is something that is tough for me. Yeah, I used to have a bunch of good friends as well.
I will recommend for most Malaysians to learn a few cooking from your mom or for your favorite food, because if you think the restaurant here is gonna give the Malaysian restaurant here is gonna give you the Malaysian food that you expect, not really the case, okay?
Have a game plan, work hard, because you will be rewarded if you work hard. Have a game plan and do not get caught up in gambling.
I think what I would recommend to Malaysians who are thinking to migrate to the US is you really have to be ready for a completely different life, a new environment, new culture. You have to work very hard to impress, not so much to impress, but to be accepted. You have to, in the workplace or in the school, work hard at learning the American culture and the American way, so that it's easy for you to assimilate here, and I think you have to be ready to struggle, because it's expensive to live here. So I remember that I worked a lot of hours. That is the immigrant life.
Well, I think if you have a good life in Malaysia, don't migrate. It's not easy.
Aku anak Malaysia.
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 Aku anak Malaysia.